You're listening to the Wired for Impact podcast.
The first thing that like people have to figure out is, and this is sometimes the trickiest part is they usually want to start with themselves and go, what am I going to deliver? Blah, blah, blah. I actually think it's best to choose a group of people, a niche, if you want to actually say it the right French way, and figure out everything you can about them, because it's not really about you. You know, I saw this in my hometown. There, for whatever reason, there's like an inordinate number of like pizza places and auto body shops. And I remember my brother had ordered Chinese food, and we got a knock at the door like 5 minutes later after the guy left, and he pointed, and he must have been texting or something, but he had backed his delivery car into my brother's car, and my brother's car smashed into my girlfriend's car. And she got her dream car, which was a Volkswagen Beetle. Don't ask me why a Volkswagen Beetle was her dream car. But as part of the insurance process, they say you have to go to an auto body shop and get 3 quotes, and we're going to go with the cheapest one. And interestingly enough, we went to 3 different auto body shops, and there's a bazillion of them where I'm from, like way too many of them. And they all said, well, Volkswagens are kind of unique cars, and because they have all these specialty parts, like we don't work on Volkswagens. Go see the guy on Drouillard Road. And so what ended up happening is we got to the guy on Drouillard Road, and he said, actually, I'm backed up for like 3-4 weeks because so many people are bringing me cars right now, but give this information to the insurance. They'll get you a loaner car in a month from now. I'll have your car back. And I thought about it, and I'm like, here's a space where there's too many auto body shops, presumably because most of them start it for their own selfish reasons, thinking like, I don't want to work for someone else, so I'm going to start an auto body shop. And from that point afterwards, because they haven't thought about their actual market, they struggle. And often it's just a 10% shift of being, I'm the auto body shop for Volkswagens because there's a real market need for Volkswagens. And so what I recommend is like choose a group of people that you would actually enjoy helping and go into it with a blank slate and just join their communities and read everything you do, because what you're going to do is you're going to cater to it. Like for the most part, like they're buying outcomes, not a website. So like, for example, if you're talking to a dentist, a typical dentist, they spend all day bent over people's mouth, their neck and back hurts. People hate the dentist. They hate everything the dentist does. And then the amount of money he earns is largely limited by insurance. And so one of the things like that we do is like, for example, is like I show people is what a dentist wants is not more patients. He wants like more higher end stuff so he can actually do less dentisting. Show him how to bring the $40,000 stuff. So that like for a dentist is the cosmetic stuff. It's the veneers. And there's a version of like this in every market. But point being is like the dentist is not buying a website from you. He's buying a tool that brings him veneers patients. And you don't know that if you don't listen to people. So I call that skill active listening. And I think it's the first step before you do anything. It's just figuring out who these people are and what do they want. And if you listen to it long enough, you'll go, it sounds like all these people seem to get stuck on Volkswagens. I'm going to be the Volkswagen specialist. And if you just take that little extra step of listening to people, you'll build what's called a market-driven business. You can have totally selfish reasons to be in business. We all do. But they also have to have market-driven reasons. And you can't do that without picking an audience of people and listening to them. And so to me, that's actually the most crucial step to get started, is just to listen to them, figure out what they're going to do, and then figure out how would I solve that problem with the tools and resources that are available. And usually none of those things have to be you. Like if you find out like, hey, they're trying to get like all these people trying to get Volkswagen help. Well, I'm going to create the Volkswagen specialist. How can I build a Volkswagen website? How can I drive Volkswagen related clicks to it? How can I like it's not anything different, but it's like I said, it's like a 10% shift focusing on where there's real needs. And I see this mistake done over and over because people build a business that's 100% about them, and it's not even like 10% market driven. And then it creates a struggle where you're pushing a boulder uphill. As where if you actually look at, and this is the thing to understand, is people go, oh, it's so competitive. There are always 100% of the time in every industry you can go in, there are unmet needs. And the reason for this is in business, the problems are endless. So like when I start, I don't have any clients, so I have this problem. But once I get clients, now I have to like actually keep the promises I've made. That's a new problem. Now I need to hire people to help me with it. That's a new problem. Then I have to figure out how to manage those people. That's a new problem. So the problems are endless. So there's never a point when there aren't needs in the space that need fulfilled. And so if you start with the market needs and figure out how I can fulfill on those, you'll build a better business that's easier to run. And it takes like literally just a couple hours. And you can do this, like Facebook's one of the easiest ways you can do this. You just join a community of dentists and spend 3 hours reading comments from dentists about the things they say and they're stuck on, and you'll know more about them than like 90% of the people who are offering them solutions. And because of it, you'll actually be able to help them with what they're trying to do, because they're not buying whatever it is you're selling. They're buying the outcome it creates in their own life. And very little of that is like about a website. But I see this all the time, because if you have a website, you want to talk about your website thing. You don't want to talk about, hey, I'm going to bring you the high-end cosmetic procedures so you don't have to be bent over people's mouth who hate you and get all this neck and back pain for this cheap insurance copay. Like, that's a totally different promise, even though in both examples, what you're going to offer them as the solution is a website.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Wired for Impact. If you're interested in creating and expanding your impact, be sure to visit us online at impactnow.com.